Hey guys, Don here. I know it's been a while since we uploaded a YouTube video. We've been just crazy busy lately, and Joshua is busy with his prep. I think you can see Joshua squatting in the background. So yeah, we're not training, we're not doing the same training today, but I'll be bringing you guys through my upper body workout today with Ada. So we're starting off with flat barbell bench press as our main movement today. I know you guys don't see us doing barbell bench press often. We normally use dumbbells, but I think it's a nice change, and I'm just following Ada's program for today because I actually just recovered from a flu, and this was my second session back. So I'm not exactly following any program right now. I'm just trying to get back into the routine, hopefully starting an actual program next week. So maybe it's a good opportunity to talk about the barbell bench press. Just like with every other movement, I usually tell people that it starts from the ground up. So you want to make sure that your feet are actually firmly planted into the ground. I like to have my heels in contact with the ground. It allows me to create a more stable platform to press from. So the goal is actually to have your feet as far back as possible while still having your heels in contact with the ground. So this actually creates quite a bit of tension in your lower body. Some people refer to this as leg drive, especially when you perform a leg extension while pressing the movement. Of course, your feet won't actually shift out of position, but simply creating this tension is what people refer to as leg drive. And in some cases, it actually helps to push the weight, since this tension actually continues throughout the entire body into the upper body as well. So the next thing is actually, maybe let's talk about creating an arch while bench pressing. I know powerlifters get a lot of hate for having a crazy arch, but actually for most people who are just doing this from a bodybuilding point of view, it is still good to have a slight arch in your back. This actually puts your shoulders in a better position to press from, and it's slightly safer, and to a certain extent, that slight decline that the arch puts you in can actually emphasize the chest a bit more. When it comes to grip width, I think it is a matter of finding out what works best for you. For some people, holding a slightly wider grip works better, but I think the general rule of thumb is that at the bottom position, your forearms should be perpendicular to the ground. It shouldn't be collapsing inwards or sort of too outwards. I think that is a bit inefficient, but it really depends on how and what you feel best works for you. So for our next movement, we are doing lat pull downs with a mat grip. So we are using a neutral grip to emphasize a bit more on shoulder extension. And yeah, for this movement, I guess the most important part is actually the stretch. I find that most people don't actually make full use of this movement at the top. So what you want to do is to really let your shoulder blades elevate upwards, and then as you pull down, think of depressing the shoulder blades. So at the top, it should almost feel like a shrug, where your shoulders are moving upwards and even covering your ears, if you were to imagine it that way. So that gives you the full stretch, and the scapular depression kind of helps with engaging your lats even further. So that is something you can take note when performing this movement. So next up, we have incline dumbbell press. I guess you guys can sort of notice a pattern in terms of the training. We are starting off with one chest movement, followed by one back, one chest, and subsequently it will be another back movement before we move on to shoulders and arms. So for incline dumbbell press, I'm actually setting the bench 2 notches above the flat position. I find that this incline works best for me. As you can tell that I don't really have a very big arch. So for someone who arches a lot more, you may need a higher level of incline to put yourself into that position that targets the upper chest better. Because arching more will simply just counteract by putting you in a decline position. So if you don't have a very big arch, you don't have to set the bench to a very high incline. And on the other hand, if you have a very big arch, you may need a higher level of incline. So now we are on to our next and final back movement. We are doing some seated cable rolls. As you can tell, we are using a slightly wider grip, flaring our elbows just to target the mid and upper back a bit more. Because for our lat pull downs, we actually target more of the lats, and now we want to target more of the mid and upper back. So for this, you want to focus more on scapular protraction and retraction. So what this means is you should allow your scapular and shoulder blades to move forward and backwards throughout the movement. So you want to think of almost like squeezing a pencil in between your back at the top. So yeah, this is what kind of helps me envision to target the mid and upper back a bit more. So now we are on to shoulders. We are done with chest and back for the session. Now moving on to shoulders and arms. So personally, when it comes to shoulders, I like to target the rear delts first before doing any sort of side raise or even front raise. I mean, personally, I don't do any front raises anymore because I do have quite a number of pressing movements already in my routine. So the priority goes to rear delts and side delts. If you guys haven't tried doing rear delts before doing your side delts, give it a shot. I think you'll find that the side delts get activated way more easily after you have sort of done some form of rear delt movement. At least that is what I experience and what my clients experience as well. So you can try it out and let us know how it works. And after reverse pec deck, we are now going on to some side raises. I believe we wanted to do cable side raises, but unfortunately the cables were being used. So we just settled for dumbbell side raises. Nothing too crazy. We just build our way up, pyramid up in weights. So I know that there are a lot of people who are very afraid of going heavy on side raises, when actually it is okay to use a bit of body English, a bit of momentum if you want to go heavy on side raises. Just make sure that you start off with more controlled sets before you progress onto the heavier sets. So what I like to do is to start light, go for slightly higher repetitions before gradually increasing the weight to something a bit heavier and using a bit of momentum when it's a bit heavier. So I think that way you get the best of both worlds. You get your controlled sets, which really helps to build that mind-muscle connection, but you also get that the couple of sets where you really overload the side delts by going a bit heavier. So next up we have biceps. We are actually doing incline hammer curls. So this emphasizes the stretch a bit more. And when it comes to the bench, the incline of the bench, we are setting it 3 notches from the top position. So yeah, you want a balance between allowing you to get that stretch and also not overstretching, because I've seen some people who just set the bench a bit too low. Basically, it is a bit too declined, and this actually puts a lot of stress on your shoulders, and I guess there's a higher chance of injuring your biceps with that level of stretch. So try to find something that gives you a reasonable stretch, but nothing too extreme. And finally, on to triceps. We are starting off with tricep push down. Just 2 sets of these actually, because we actually want to do overhead tricep extensions. But I find that starting with a push down movement helps to build that mind muscle connection and kind of warm up the area, the elbows a bit better. So most people find that any overhead tricep movement places quite a bit of stress on the elbows. So it's good to kind of warm up with something that is less stressful on the joints, something like a push down. And here is the overhead tricep extensions. If you really want to grow your triceps, you gotta have to be doing some movements that emphasize the stretch position of the triceps. I don't believe that you can do just push downs and grow nice triceps. In fact, I think there are enough studies to show that movements that emphasize the stretched position of the triceps can actually target the long head of the triceps better. And for those of you who don't know, the long head of the triceps is the largest head out of the 3 heads of the triceps: your lateral, medial, and long head of the triceps. So yeah, this is our final movement for the day. So hope you guys enjoyed this commentary. We'll try to bring more exciting content. We have a lot of exciting ideas lined up along the way. It's just that we We are just so busy and we haven't had the time to actually unbox some of the stuff that we bought. So we are kind of looking forward to it as well, finding some time. We actually have a lot of things lined up ahead for the company and the business. So yeah, really excited to show you guys what we have in store for us. So in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us closely on social media like Instagram, and we're trying to post a bit more on TikTok as well. So if you guys see us there, don't forget to drop us a follow. And that should be it for this video. I'll catch you guys soon.